Joining us right now on the phone is the man who exposed the Bigfoot hoax, Steve Kulls, private investigator and executive director of Squatchdetective.com.
The numbers of sightings, even if you take 99% of them and put them in the trash can, you turn around, you still have that 1% that can't be explained. Well, we need to explain it.
And then this thing walks across the road, makes a turn towards us.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
The whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us.
I still see that damn thing to this day. It wasn't 20 feet from me.
You could see it standing from the moonlight in the tree line.
I was just scanning right to left, and it reminded me of like a gorilla.
Get somebody out here. Son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, June 25th, 2023. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Cole, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's up, Chris?
Oh, man.
So
again,
again,
all right. We've had some really bad storms here today, and we were planning on mowing the yard, but well, that don't happen when it's raining and lightning and thundering and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll be on for the entire show.
Yeah, well, it's calmed down now. Yeah, the storm has passed, but it's good to see you're back in New York and you're not breathing through a ventilator with a smoke. Try to get rid of the smoke.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I did notice those pictures, man. That was really bad. Yeah. And I looked on the internet. They had some they showed in New York City where the whole skyline was orange.
Yeah, it was horrible down there.
Looked like Mars. Yeah,
it was really bad down there. I don't know if they've got the wildfires under control at this point in time, but I'm not even sure. But I got to tell you, it was a great trip. It's good to be back. It was a couple of weeks ago. And we didn't have a show that week because it took me, I didn't get home till like 1 a.m. my time.
Oh, wow.
Which would have been about midnight your time. And I left at 8 a.m. your time. So.
Oh, that's a lot of driving.
Yeah. But yeah, that's 16 hours on the car behind the wheel there.
Yeah.
But I made it back. And I actually wasn't really all that beat up. I got in. I'm like, okay, brought my stuff in.
Well, yeah, that Bronco's pretty comfortable, I noticed. It rides like a freaking car, but
yeah,
but,
sure does.
You can take it off road too, so it's kind of like a luxury car you can drive off road.
Not much of a crowd in here tonight, I'll say that. Chance, your name is green because you are a member of the channel, and we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, hey Chance. Green.
So,
yeah, cool.
Yep. And so we're gonna have some fun tonight. A lot of things to talk about, some Bigfoot related, some not. Yeah. And that's why I said this show's not about Bigfoot. Well, although it might be, it really is going to be. But we always base our shows in Bigfoot, and I wanted to see.
There seems to be a lot of interest in aliens and UFOs these days.
Yeah, we'll get to that because I did put the unedited, or I just edited out a little piece. I had to put it, patch it together. A little editing when the officer spoke about, his partner seeing that, I wanted to patch the actual body cam footage of the meteor, and that's what exactly it was. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But first, we have a testimonial.
When you consider great leaders of men, you often think of people like Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Winston Churchill, but in recent times, there's Steve Kulls, the Squatch Detective.
Thank you.
Oh, Steve and Winston Churchill. That's right. That's
yeah. I get up in the morning and my first thing I do is I have an alcoholic beverage the first thing in the morning. And Napoleon, Napoleon and Alexander. It's not like I want to conquer everything, but that was a great, funny little ditty that Adam Davies did while down in Alabama.
That's hilarious.
But
I love that.
But it was a good time. Met a lot of great people, and hopefully we'll have a couple of those people on the show talking about our big favorite hairy cryptid. Yeah. Now here's something else that happened. I just happened to be playing with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is one of the better advanced AI chatbots out there. Right. There's a lot of them out there, as Chris found out.
Yeah,
that have a lot of bad information, but ChatGPT tends to have the best and most current information. So I typed in my name just on a whim, and this is what came up. So today I decided to check some artificial intelligence site, AI, and I went to the OpenAI site, and I happened to say, who is Steve Kulls? And surprisingly, it gave a very flattering account of yours truly. And what it said was, Steve Kulls, also known as Steve Kulls, the Squatch Detective, is a prominent figure in the field of Bigfoot research. He is a dedicated investigator who spent years studying the elusive creature known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Kulls gained recognition for his work investigating and analyzing alleged Bigfoot sightings and evidence. He employs a scientific and analytical approach to his research, utilizing various techniques such as forensic analysis, audio analysis, and witness interviews to evaluate the credibility of Bigfoot-related claims. He has been involved in numerous expeditions and field investigations, collaborating with other researchers and organizations in the quest for evidence of Bigfoot's existence. Kulls has also appeared in documentaries, radio shows, and podcasts to discuss his findings and share his insights on the subject. Throughout his career, Steve Kulls has been actively engaged in promoting critical thinking and evidence-based research within the Bigfoot community. He encourages fellow researchers and enthusiasts to approach the subject with skepticism and objectivity, striving for a scientific understanding of the Bigfoot rather than relying solely on anecdotal accounts and speculation. Kulls continues to contribute to the field of Bigfoot research, striving to uncover the truth behind his enduring mystery through his dedication, knowledge, and investigative skills. All I can say is, wow. And of course, that was the video which I put together for that. Yeah, I was actually quite shocked. But as you can see, we're going to be doing a new series on the channel called What Does AI Say About ... Right. And of course, we're going to check on some other researchers and see what AI has to say about them. And I've already previewed a few of them and was like, oh boy. So it's going to be a fun time. Before we get to our weekly roll call, and there are not too many people in chat tonight. I don't know if another show has gone over, but we're going to talk about, thanks to our new members out there. Of course, channel sponsors, Kentucky Fried Fixes. Yeah, I know who that character is. Don Fuller and Former Everything, all channel sponsors. And we got a couple of channel supporters, and that's Lauren Hudson and Jay Fritz. Thank you guys so much. And
I just needed to be able to see the videos because I couldn't see the videos in the special section, you know.
But yeah, you know,
but we appreciate you guys. We really do.
Sure do. And you guys make this channel possible.
That's right.
So and we're going to be cutting some more new membership stuff this week as well. Trying to get back, finish up training at work, and now that that's finished, I'm trying to settle into a good routine with the new job. So it's been a little hectic, being away for the better part of 4 or 5 days a week almost. Takes a toll. A lot of things I had to do getting, when I came home, I had to catch up on the yard work and whatever other projects I had going on aside from the Bigfoot world. And so and last week it was Father's Day last Sunday. Yeah. And I thought maybe, Chris would like to spend some time with his sons and daughter. And so I said, now, you know what? We're not going to do a show this week. But luckily I did my festivities for today earlier in the day, as today is my 1-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. So,
Jerry, you have my sympathies. I know it's been a difficult year, but hang in there. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall
we shall fight in the sky.
We shall fight in the streets and never surrender.
And we shall never surrender. Great movie, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The Darkest Hour. That was a great movie. But anyway, let's do our roll call. There aren't too many people in chat tonight, so.
It's been a couple of weeks, and this is kind of a short notice show too. So.
And I don't think they like the title.
Maybe, yeah.
The show's not about Bigfoot, so they move on.
Yeah.
But the people who love us are here.
Well. We appreciate everybody. We really do.
We sure do. But anyway, let's see who's in the chat. We got Tim Heller and the Bigfoot influencers in the house. B. Lynn is here. Hello, B.
B.
Uncle Bones too. Hey, what's up,
Uncle Bones?
Joe Dryden. Joe's in the house. Low Rider. He's always here. Little Kilroy was here again.
Little Kilroy.
Jay Fritz here as well.
Jay.
And you notice on that little icon is actually on YouTube. It has the Squatch-D TV logo, but on StreamYard it just has that little, meaning they're a channel member.
Yeah.
We got Sharon in the house. Chance Lambert. Chance, another one of our members.
Good to see you, bud.
Mike Ann is in the house.
Hey, Mike, go on, Tack.
Warren RCG in the house. Ammon Chris.
Warren.
And I guess Nikki is still on. That's probably why. At 9:04. So my show must have ended because all of a sudden everybody just jumped in. See who else is here. Angel Nolan's in the house. Hello, Angel. Don Fuller. Don Fuller's here. Grasshopper. Jen. Finding the Trackway is here. And see, everybody's in now, and they missed all the fun in the first few minutes we've done.
Oh wow, the chat's hopping now.
Yeah.
Wow. Welcome, guys. Good to see you.
Well, I'm glad they stuck it out for Nikki, because tonight's show is kind of put together because, as I just mentioned, for those who didn't hear that were out just a couple of minutes ago, today was my 1-year wedding anniversary. So my festivities right away. Last week was Father's Day, and the week before I was traveling. So it's been a really busy month. Anyway.
We appreciate Sherry sharing you with us tonight.
She's got to go to work tomorrow, as do I. But I usually don't work Mondays, but I'm working tomorrow because I wanted to mix it up a little. And anyway.
Mondays.
I hate Mondays. Well, unless I'm off, then I love Mondays. It's my pardon the French. It's my get shit done day. Is Monday.
We need a 3-day weekend every weekend. That would be better.
But you know what? Here's the thing that got me. My company that I work for told me they forgot to tell everybody until Saturday, when everybody's making sure they don't have overtime and stuff like that.
Right.
That they paid us for Juneteenth.
Well, that was nice of them.
But I would have loved a day off rather than the extra day off would have been nice. But I ended up working. I got paid. My boss said, "Yeah, you guys want to work, over 40 hours."
Well, the banks took a day off.
they did. I did not. And we got the big holiday coming up in just 9 short days, 4th of July, Independence Day. So here are Raptor Crazies in the house, Sandra Piper. And hopefully I didn't lose anybody else. I think I got everybody else. But you had mentioned earlier about that UFO in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The UAP, UFO, and the alien sighting.
Whatever they're calling these days.
And and you know what? I was going to do this long analysis on it and look at the body language, but I'm going to be very quick about this. And it wasn't worth putting out another video because after it went viral, within a few days, the whole thing just died down. Yeah. It's very apparent to me that what was seen on the police body cam, what everybody was looking at in the sky was a meteor.
Right. Exactly.
Now, you remember we had the show back here a few years back where we had, we heard the boom.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it turned out that was a meteor, and people described that as green as well. And that's because the main component in most meteors are iron. Right. When iron burns, it burns green. So it made a lot of sense seeing that. No doubt that's a meteor. The color's correct.
Right.
Now if you look at the body cam video of the folks, exactly, Don, meteor, 100%. 100%. Like I said, iron burns green.
And if that had been an alien spacecraft and he came down that fast, or it came down that fast, there would have been a freaking hole back there where it hit the ground. Because that would have been way too fast to land safely.
Yep. So now looking at the police body cam, iron burns green. Copper may burn green as well, but I know iron does as well. That we did research on. We did that a few years back when we heard the boom, and I thought a tree came down in the yard.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And it was actually featured on the local news around here. Mike Gann says big meteor flyby tonight. Wonderful. Marvelous. Wow. Yeah, see what's going to drop by in the sky.
Well, let's hope it keeps on going by and doesn't drop in to say hello.
Yep. Anyway, so watching the police cam, the police body cam videos, it's very apparent to me that, and looking at the kids, especially at the end, they're both standing there like this, all closed up.
Yeah.
Now, I think what happened was the kids saw their moment of fame, and there's a lot of people pointing out on videos, oh, look, there's what they're seeing, or, oh, that's that, or, and it's nothing definitive. And, people are making, the pareidolia is working full tilt there.
Yeah.
And hello to Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks, who just snuck in.
Welcome.
So it was not. It was no doubt in my mind that what was.
Well, they had a good catchphrase there, a catch line there, and clicky title. Aliens. Landed in Las Vegas. 8 foot tall, green, and everybody in the world is going to click on that video. I mean, everybody's going to watch this.
Exactly.
Oh my God, they're here.
Now, the cool thing is, if anybody wants to watch the police body cam video, I have probably one of the most complete versions on the web, including a cut in of the officer that saw the meteor drop that was captured on his body cam. Right. So I cut out a lot of the driving to the scene and all that other stuff, but I got him arriving, talking to the people, and all that stuff. So anybody wants to catch it, it's on the channel. And read for yourself the body language. You'll see what I'm talking about, especially towards the end where the kids were looking around really nervous because the cops were kind of poking fun at it and stuff. So
right. I think they kind of realized that maybe they weren't being believed as much as they would hope they would have been.
Yep. And they were like jokingly said, well, the aliens come back.
Yeah.
So,
well, what was the deal with that camera? The police installed a camera on their house. Why would they do that when this is just an obvious hoax?
Now, my question is, did they really? Or
well, I've seen footage of a camera. Maybe.
I'm just wondering if that's just internet rumination.
You think that could be something that's made up, just an outright lie that somebody's just took a picture of somebody's security camera and said, "Yes, the police installed this."
Well, with the way the internet is today, yes, I do.
It's very possible.
Very possible. Because okay, they put up a camera, but then they got to wire it to a DVR.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or they got to wire it to some system, unless they have traffic cams there, which they might. But it just sounds to me that no, I don't. I have
or maybe it's a speed camera and they're just saying, "Oh yeah, we got this here to take pictures of aliens."
Right. and I'm sure the neighbors were very pleased with everything going on.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know, the kid did get on a podcast or two, and you know, yeah, exactly. Mike says, "Really not? You're gonna have people go look." So maybe that's why they put a camera in there, just to make sure there's nobody pulling shenanigans or anything like that.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing. The other news story was the sub.
Yeah. Oh yeah, tragedy.
And that was. Now, I know there was a lot of people, and there's a lot of stuff coming out, you know, both for and against. And
yeah,
you know, I look at it this way: if somebody wants to, you know, everybody that was on that boat, with the exception of maybe the 19-year-old son of one of the millionaires that went down in it.
Right.
How should I say this? If they want to go ahead and do that and you know, take a risk, and they sign waivers saying, "Hey, this could result in death,"
yeah,
and that's on them.
Right.
They knew what they were getting into. Like I said, the 19-year-old apparently was really angsty about it and didn't want to go. You know, and I know there's people like the guy who had run the sub, who owned the company, was a you know, he ran, you know, people talk about him cutting corners, or you know, and yes, there was some very bad stuff going on. Some of the emails sound pretty dubious, but the bottom line is that, you know, in the Explorers Club, apparently, which all these folks, including Josh Gates, belong to, and probably one of the best interviews I've seen is with Josh Gate and Piers Morgan, who, you know, Josh even said, "Listen, that's what they do. That's what explorers do. We can't knock somebody for doing what they do, no matter how dangerous." I mean, think about people loading themselves into the space shuttle. You know, we've lost over a dozen astronauts due to the space shuttle failures. You know, that it's a risk every time you go into outer space or inner space, which would be the deep ocean.
Yeah.
So there's always that risk. If something fails, it's going to be catastrophic.
Yeah.
And you know, let's face it, there were issues with the space shuttle that were glaring, and a big government agency like NASA could not overcome that. Like, for example, the O-rings, and you know, if anybody, there was a docuseries made of or actually a movie made of that whole. You know, there were engineers going, wait, it's too cold. We got to check the O-rings, and they were shot down, and they shot it up anyway, and boom. You know, and then then there was the issue of NASA knowing that they had missing ceramic tiles off the Columbia before it re-entered the atmosphere, and they decided to, well, let's chance it and bring them back anyway when they knew. And there is a way, of course, they had a way afterwards. If there is, they pack some extra ceramic tiles in each shuttle now, but they didn't do that then.
It seems like it would be common sense, you know.
Right. But they didn't do that then. They didn't think about that.
Right.
So, you know, but what they could have done is kept them up there and sent another shuttle or a capsule, or have the Russians go up, because the Russians would have done it. And you know, fix the space shuttle with the glue they use and the new ceramic tiles. But they didn't do that. They risked it and sent them down, and they ended up burning up on reentry.
Very bad. And a lot of times these decisions are made because of money.
Yep.
And, you know, what's a human life worth?
Well, you know, it's going to be up for debate about the sub. Yeah, that's true. The Trackway, the space station vacation sounds better than a deep sea submarine vacation for sure.
I don't know. No, I'm keeping my foot on terra firma. I'm not going up, and I'm not going down.
I don't know. And did you hear what they had to go through in that sub to get down to the depths? I mean, literally, they all have to cramp in this little area.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw the
they're
pressure
sitting,
chamber.
They're sitting on the floor of the thing, and it's only a thin plate metal floor.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get one window in the front, and that's it. And then on the way down, they turn the power off. So they're in complete darkness with the exception of a glow stick. And, you know.
It's not something that, you know, I would particularly be interested in doing, but some people maybe, you know. And one thing that really upset me about was some of the comments on some of these YouTube videos and the stories covering it. And they're like, some of the comments were like, people were almost happy that these people had died just because they were wealthy. And I find that extremely disturbing. You know, well, it doesn't matter if they were billionaires, or it doesn't matter if they had to borrow money to buy lunch. You know, human life is all equal.
The one guy, what was his name? RH or something like that. I mean, they called him RH or, you know, PH or something like that.
Right.
He was actually an expert on the Titanic, and this was his 35th or 36th dive down to the Titanic. Right. Now, I don't know how many times he was down on the ocean view as opposed to the Mir, which is the Russian submersible that's been down there.
Yeah.
But I do know that the Russian submersible is very well made.
Yeah.
And even the guy had said, I feel completely fine going down there in the Russian Mir. It's still scary, still dangerous, but I feel a lot more comfortable than I would be on this. Even Josh Gates, who was down in the ocean view in Lake Michigan.
Right.
You know, they offered to take him down to the Titanic, and he passed. He said, nope, that's way too dangerous. Sorry, I'm not going to risk it.
Right.
Because he would have had to bring a cameraman down too. And, you know, but you know, I feel bad for the folks anyway that were along as passengers, especially the expert guy who, you know, but like one of his friends said, you know, on one of the interviews, that he went doing what he loved to do when he was in his 70s. So he was like, he went doing what he loved to do. I mean, what do you want to do after that? You know, so I guess, and they went fast. It wasn't like they even knew what happened, because it was an implosion.
Oh,
and,
immediately. Yeah. They didn't know what hit them.
Yeah.
But I think, to me, though, you know, I have some reservations about the Titanic being explored or being visited, because to me, I feel like that should be designated as a underwater grave site, and it should be like, you know, forbidden to go there. You know what I mean?
And Don, I don't think the space shuttle was bad technology. I think some of the components to it were bad ideas. You know, like the SRBs, the solid rocket boosters, having O-rings in them. That's a bad idea on any given day. Anything with an O-ring, you know, if anybody's had plumbing in their house, they know what a bad O-ring can do.
Yeah.
If somebody's had Taco Bell, a lot of Taco Bell in a night, and they have a bad O-ring, they know what happens. But you know, and the ceramic tiles, I mean, okay, you would think they had them on a more firm way, not just glued on, but apparently they were just glued on. So
yeah. In the early part of 1985, I was at Lackland Air Force Base out in San Antonio, Texas, and I got to see one of the shuttles being transported. And I don't remember which one because I couldn't see the name on it, and I did look it up after that, but it's not here. It's gone. But they put this thing on top of a 747, and it looked like an elephant riding on the back of an ant.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. But I got to see this thing fly through the sky, the big 747 with the space shuttle on its back. And that was one of the truly, I think that's one of the most memorable things I've ever seen in my life. That was really, really, really
Chance made a great statement from here. It says, a lot of people say it's disrespectful to the families, but it is disrespectful not to learn from the tragedy. You know, they would want us to learn from what had happened. That's the truth, at least.
Sure, I mean, we know what happened. Okay, we know how the boat got there. So
not particularly, because they're not sure if it was a crack in the window. They're not sure if one of the seals, because what it is, it's basically a cylinder that's boom, bolted and they're not sure exactly where the failure occurred.
Okay, well, I was talking about the Titanic itself. Okay.
Oh, well,
yeah, we know how that got there.
Yeah.
But they do need to find out. Of course, it's obvious failure of the pressure vessel that's caused that sub incident, and that's surprising because that's one of the only things that was actually a custom piece, a custom part that was designed. The rest of the stuff was off the shelf items.
Right, and like Grasshopper says, it's eventual, like the shuttles.
Yeah.
You think about it, it was, if you think about it, you're right. I mean, every one of us has probably been in a fender bender before. Every one of us has ran over a nail before in their car. When you drive as much as we do, it's an eventuality. One of these things is going to happen. Somebody's going to hit you, or, some things may be in your control. Some things may not be. Shit, I should have not turned down that road because there's all that, new housing they're building there. And I caught a nail in my tire. You could have avoided that, but it was a shorter distance to go through that neighborhood.
Right.
And you end up getting, it's going to happen.
Right.
And Chance says the new ceramic tiles were designed to keep up with climate chaos, insanity. And the funny thing is, it's not even that. The tiles were lost on the Columbia at launch when a piece of debris came off one of the SRBs. Or no, I'm sorry, it came off the fuel tank, because the fuel tank it wasn't ice. It was actually that was on the Challenger disaster. They had the ice, okay. But on the Columbia, when it launched, there's styrofoam insulation on the external fuel tank, the big cylinder in the middle, which the shuttle sat on, and a piece of that came off and struck the wing of the shuttle, knocking off the ceramic tiles. So when they re-entered, their first warning sign was on the side where that item had struck.
Yeah.
And it showed as a tire failure at first, like a flat tire, because what happened was a fire started on that wing from re-entry where the tiles were missing. Yeah. And what happened was it burned the tire out. And that's when they got the flash. And, the rest of course, at that point, the fire is, the fire is just going to spread.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the sub thing, man. I mean, that's a tragedy.
Yeah, that you're right, Rad. They should have tested it. Yeah, they tested it in Lake Michigan, but not even close to the depth. I mean, you think Josh Gates pointed it out that the depth of where the Titanic is 12,500 feet down.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, that is a long ways down. If you think about it, the Empire State Building, I think, is only 1,100 feet high.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, it's not. Hang on. Let's find that out. How?
I don't know. We're going to find out. This is going to be educational tonight.
Okay. So this is 1,250 feet. Let's go. How?
I wonder if that includes the towers.
Is the Titanic? Okay, excuse me. I'm 13,000 feet. So if you take the Empire State Building, you can put that in water and still have 500 feet to go from the surface of the water.
Yeah.
Before
well,
you
1,300 feet and 13,000 is a big difference. So, see, 5,000 feet is 1 mile.
Right.
So it was over 2 miles down. That's a lot of pressure. A lot.
Yeah, 13,000 feet. And the Empire State Building is only 1,250 feet.
Right, right.
So you're talking 10 Empire State Buildings.
Yeah,
that's how
10
far
plus,
down.
right.
Right.
Man.
Huge.
I mean, if anybody's ever been diving, I mean, you can tell once you get down, not even very 15, 20 feet down, you can start feeling the pressure. If you're using a scuba tank, you have to really force that air to come in because your body's under the pressure of the water.
And imagine just going down, 50, 60 feet. In water, they have to come up really slower, because they get the bends. And then after you scuba dive, so you go down, you scuba dive, you come back up, you don't have the bends, you're okay. You still can't fly for like 48 hours,
right? Yeah,
because you can still get clots because of all that pressure. Unreal,
strange.
It's like people don't understand. Surgeries too. Same thing with surgeries. If you have a surgery done, you're not supposed to fly from like 40, because sometimes, what happens is you get clots when your surgery heals. And if you go flying, it may jar one of those clots loose because it's a pressurized cabin, and it can travel to the lung, the heart, the brain, anywhere. And people don't realize, as a medic, there was a lot of people that just all of a sudden I can't breathe, and boom, down they go. And that's because they've had a blood clot that traveled to their lung.
Right.
There's people I've known that, blood clots to the heart, where all of a sudden their heart stops, and blood clots to the brain, which causes them to have a stroke. And usually it's a devastating stroke. Yeah. So.
I hear sounds like a dog rebellion upstairs. I don't know.
How's that little girl of mine doing over there?
Oh, she's doing good. She's doing good. Yeah, you should have took her home with you.
Sherry told me I should have too.
Sheena. Yeah, Sheena. That's her name. You should have took her home. She's a toy, what do they call them? She's a toy Yorkshire Terrier.
Right.
And she's really, really small. And the rest of them are 3 times her size. And, she just fell in love with Steve. I wish he would, while he was here, I wish he would have taken her home with him, because we have too many puppies. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs now. I never was a dog person before, and you can have 1 or 2 in the house, the small dogs. Okay, that's fine. But right now we have 9. Of course, 3 of them are puppies, but still, that's 6 adults and 3. That's too many. You cannot have freaking 9 dogs in the house.
I am. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to make a trip back down to see Chris to pick her up.
Oh, please. And maybe a couple of more. So that she's not lonely.
You forget I have 2 here.
Yeah, Watson would make a good companion. Yeah, they'd be. Your other one. What's the other one named? The German Shepherd.
Hope.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they could play together well, but maybe. Yeah, she's so small, Yep.
What was that? Anyway,
they're Yorkies.
Yeah,
Finding the trackway. So they're what kind of puppy? They're Yorkies.
Yeah, Yorkies.
The wife loves those little Yorkshire Terriers, and I tried to get her. She said she was going to get a dog, and I tried to get her to get one of those large with like a Great Dane. a big, huge dog that could live outside, and we could be peaceful. He would live outside, and I would go outside and pet him on the head and fill up his dog food bowl, and he could run around and do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, but Great Danes think they're lap dogs.
Oh no.
Yeah, they are not really great outdoor dogs. And they don't have a very long lifespan either.
Oh,
only like
I couldn't
7 to 10 years, I think.
Oh, that's not very long.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I couldn't imagine having one of those in the house. I mean, these little Yorkies, ankle biters, that's terrible enough, but having a Great Dane inside, oh my goodness.
My guy, he is 16 pounds. I mean, he's not necessarily a tiny dog. But he's small enough where if he wants to get running, he can run around the house. He's fine. But God, I get him outside, especially with all the wildlife I have.
Yeah.
And he just runs he just runs all over. He loves being out there on the leash.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I keep him on a leash, but he's like, all over the place. And the other thing is I put a bird feeder up last week. And, it took a few days, but the birds found it. Now that they're all the time.
You probably have squirrels there too.
Well, yeah. But I fixed their little butts, the squirrels, because all of a sudden it took them a few hours, but one of the squirrels figured, I'm going to climb up this pole here.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took some cooking spray and sprayed the pole.
Right.
And they can't get a grip on the thing.
Too slick for them.
The non-stick spray, right? Yeah. So down they go.
Well, I saw that trail cam video you got on the channel the other day, and they shows all the different wildlife back there. And then I saw y'all had take Watson for a walk back there, and he was back there walking, and he'd stop and sniff and look around, and he was left and right. He was really, really soaking in all those wildlife smells from Gosh, there was a fox on that one video. There was a bobcat, deer. Oh my goodness! I think there was a 2 rabbits. I can't remember if that one had the squirrel in it or not. But I can imagine Watson was really
the possum, the skunk.
The possum and a skunk. Yes.
And So anyway, the other morning I get up, and this is the fun part of living where I live, is I got up the other morning and, the bedroom is right off the kitchen, and, because the two, my office and the other bedroom are across the hall from one each on the other side of the house.
Yeah.
And, I got a very short hallway, to the right is, to the left is my bath. If I leave here, just the door across the hallway from me is my bathroom. And because we have a master bath in the house, and I let her have that, and we have like kind of an open kitchen dining room. We got a nice little island in our kitchen, and table and whatever. But anyway, I get up in the morning and I go to the coffee pot. Of course, first place I go. Get the Keurig going, right? And there's a little kitchen window, and there's the big kitchen window. And so I'm getting the coffee, and I look out the big kitchen window, and all of a sudden, standing in the yard is a deer and a fawn.
Oh.
That was only maybe as big as my German Shepherd. Tiny little thing, for a deer. And they go and scampering into the woods and enjoying themselves. But it was funny watching there's either a lilac or a flowered tree back there, and the deer was actually standing on 2 legs trying to picking the flowers up, which was kind of ever see a deer up on its hind legs. It was kind of funny.
That's pretty neat. Well, usually in Kentucky they'll come out around early in the morning, and then at dusk, as soon as the sun goes down. And they'll come out and they'll graze areas where it's been freshly mowed, because that grass is so tender. Oh, wow, they love it.
A doe, a deer, a female deer.
Ray, tropical sun. Oh, yes.
Yes, and Don says They'll work
The
around
Sound
your
of
ideas,
Music.
Steve. They are cunning creatures. Well, unless one shows up with spikes, I don't think they're going to get up there. As long as what happens is it rains and it washes some of that stuff away.
Yeah. I love watching those things.
Yes, I know Don asked me about an audio or a video of I haven't checked that one out yet. I was busy getting the show ready, and of course and once in a while I've been having a lot of technical difficulties with StreamYard's audio lately. And when I first got on, I couldn't hear myself, which is one of the nice things about having this kind of chance. So yeah.
Golly, that's a lot.
Yeah. They are, and they all think they're lap dogs. They really do. I couldn't imagine going on there. There's 2 or 3 Great Danes sitting on the couch. How you doing?
I think the biggest dog I ever owned was a Rottweiler, and they get a bad reputation. They're not demon dogs. They're actually pretty loving. As
a kid, I had a beagle.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, they're temperamental. I had a female beagle. She was a little grouch when she was trying to sleep. Watching sometimes he'll growl if you try to pick him up, but he's not angry. It's just out of protest.
Yeah,
like he has never bit anybody, out of anger or anything. And that's of course, Watson's a Shih Tzu, and they are very compatible with kids, and they're very compatible with other animals. So I don't really worry about him going after anything like that. The Shepherd, on the other hand, she can be very territorial sometimes and start, that warning bark, that warning bark. But we're trying to break her of that a little bit. What was I going to say? Chance asked me about what did AI. Well, we already did that, unfortunately. But the good news is that not what AI said about me, but our new series coming up. What does AI say about And we're gonna be throwing that one out. And you also missed all the new. If you came in late, we watch the first few minutes of the show. You'll see what you missed.
Yeah.
We did run that video. The beagles are genius, except every once in a while they get themselves in trouble. Like I lived along the back behind my house as a kid was a creek.
Yeah.
And one day my beagle saw a squirrel. And my father, unfortunately, a lot of times would take her off the leash in the backyard, where we are. Yes, very true, Mike. But not with me. He will not do that to me because I'm the alpha. But you have to watch your leg with him. But so the squirrel takes off up a tree that's kind of leaning out over the creek and jumps to another tree across the creek.
Oh yeah.
The beagle goes charging.
Yeah.
Right up the tree, and then realizes, oh shit, I can't jump.
Oops. Wasn't really thinking that one out.
Yep, and it was funny because my father said she ran up the tree and then turned around and looked like, oh, what do I do now? Because they're not great at backing up either, But yeah,
you gotta love them.
So, folks, we'll do a little programming note here. Not officially confirmed yet, but next week we're looking to get Michael Freeman on, son of Paul Freeman, discussing his father's research and the book he wrote about it. So keep that in the back of your heads for
that's going to be an interesting show.
It's gonna be real good. Yep.
The Paul Freeman footage is some of the most famous footage out there.
Yep.
I think it's in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah. If not, it's like number 2 or 3 compared, when you look at it. But, like I said, there's some people that believe it's fake, and there's other people that believe it's real, and there's people like me, like most stuff I'm kind of in the middle about, but I think has some merit. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. So, hey.
Paul Freeman was an interesting researcher. There were a few. I had some questions, and maybe we can get some of those covered. That would be great.
Yep.
You've always got to be a little skeptical. There's nothing wrong with being a little skeptical.
Healthy dose. Yeah, I'm just looking at my AI description is that keep an open mind but remain skeptical about claims.
Exactly.
No matter what they are, you got to remain a skeptic, until all other things are proved otherwise. And that's one of the toughest things as a researcher is I get a lot of reports about, well, I was camping and I hear this tree knock. What do you do with that? Or I hear wood knocks, or I hear these vocalizations. Every once in a while I'll say, oh, well, I saw all these trees that were twisted and turning, that's right out the door. But what do you do with people who, I hear all this tree knocking? What do you do with that? Well, I heard a vocal. What do you do with that? Because you can't get them really to repeat it accurately. And the problem is that a lot of times with witnesses is before, let me give you a real good example. When they were the first person to see the Unabomber, I forget what state it was, but the Unabomber had put a bomb in front of in the back lot of a computer store, or in the parking lot of a computer store, and the owner of the computer store happened to see it. Now his secretary was sitting in the window watching the whole thing and saw the Unabomber put that there. Right. And boom, and it killed the owner. It was one of the first times the Unabomber actually killed somebody.
Yeah.
She was given a sketch artist came to draw the sketch of who she had seen. And remarkably, some people say, well, it didn't look close to the Unabomber. It looked kind of differently. You know who it actually looked like? The sketch artist.
Oh my God.
Because that's how the mind works sometimes.
Right.
So when you have a person that hears a Bigfoot vocalization and they turn around and say, well, I heard this noise and this is what it sounded like, whatever. What happens is that before you reach them and before they happen to put a report to you, they go on the internet.
I'll start looking. Yeah.
They start listening. So what happens is what they heard becomes a little mixture of what they're hearing on this site or that site or this site.
Right.
So that's what happened. Don, I don't think so. I was inside most of the day anyway. Today was too friggin' humid to be outside. So I was out for a little bit today. I didn't see any smoke other than it was a little hazy, but that could have been from the humidity. I know there was a lot of fog this morning because of the humidity. And
we were hoping they got that under control.
Yeah. You can actually the store I went into, because I went into the butcher shop today to prepare for our dinner tonight, our anniversary dinner, which I had some really good steak tonight. So anniversary, you got to do something nice like that. But the actual shop door, you could see the condensation on the door because of the air conditioning inside. The humidity was so high outside that it was condensation on, just storefront windows. But I was saying the witness, the witnesses, end up listening to other stuff on the internet, and you're not getting an accurate, interpretation.
Yeah.
That's why getting to witnesses is so crucial. But the problem is them getting to you in this particular, like, for example, as an investigator, something happens, you go to see the witnesses. You know, it's already there. It's fresh. It's all good. But in this type of industry or scenario, they're coming to you post-incident. So their interpretations of what happened have changed a little bit in certain circumstances. So that's why it's very important to, basically do a good interview with witnesses. And that's, you have to.
I think actually it would probably be difficult to describe an actual vocalization, and I don't think anybody in the world could ever mimic it, repeat it.
And Rapper says, too many people out in the woods doing Bigfoot calls on YouTube doesn't mean it's a real Bigfoot or call blasting. Yeah, but that's going to be a rarity at times, I think, myself. Somebody else, it depends. If you're in Salt Fork, probably Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, which has been overrun by Bigfoot researchers.
Good chance you're going to hear somebody out there tree knocking or something.
Yeah, I went out there last time. I was like, there's too many people running around here, just looking for Bigfoot. So, it makes no sense to do that. Even that's why I laid off my area for a while, because there were some people showing up there that I have no idea who or how or why they got there, but it gets out where some of these areas are, and so I have to, all right, I'm going to let it rest for a few years, because guess where the number one source of reports in that area have been coming from? Me. So if I don't say nothing about that area for a few years, well,
that's the thing. You can have too many researchers in one area, and if everybody is out there tracking up the woods, you're gonna kind of spook them away, because they're not going to stay there if every time they turn around, somebody's shining a flashlight at them. They'll bug out. I don't know where they go, but they go somewhere else.
Chance Lambert says Todd Standing will say it's a Bigfoot, and you best be ready when one of the friends walks through it. Well, what do you mean? Todd Standing is like the best Bigfoot researcher out there. Look how many videos he has of a Bigfoot and pictures and all that stuff. What are you talking about? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I saw one video he did, and he had it was like nighttime, and he had this red torch, like a road flare, and he's waving it around saying, "What do you want?" I thought that was really pretty,
Oh, you yelled too hard, and you. Yeah. Oh.
That's hilarious.
Hey, Chris, your internet just burped for a second, just to let you know. But we got that. We got the gist of it.
Wow.
You're fine now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was talking about the video that's standing with the road flare, waving it. What do you want?
It would have been better if Bigfoot threw an egg or a tomato at him.
Yeah. Tree stump, whatever. Limb.
Person in the costume, his father out there with the makeup, the fireman running through the woods. And one of his latest videos, he's trying to say, "Oh, look how big this Sasquatch is compared to me." Bullshit. We all know it's a firefighter from Edmonton that you picked out and put in a costume and ran him up the hill videotaping. And we all know that, Todd. It's no great secret, because your secrets have been spilled. So,
yeah, if you start a film production company, chances are sometime after you start that film production company, you're going to have some films.
Especially when you're running that production company using an alias like Todd Rockwell.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and that was the twist to the whole thing. The production company was called Outstanding Production.
Right. Yeah.
But he's using a pseudonym as the owner of the company.
You can fool some people some of the time, but you can't ever fool Steve Kulls. That's not going to happen. He's got the lowdown.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Nobody's perfect. But, what I do have is a good sniff factor. Like, something doesn't smell right.
Right.
It's a bad case of diaper rash, perhaps. We'll figure it out. And that's the big gist of things, is that, everybody that's out there, that does this. And you know, I'm preaching to the choir here because our audience is the best at doing this.
Yeah.
Is you got to dig and dig and dig. And when you're done digging, you got to dig some more. Yeah, I was correct. Today standing is the bomb. Yeah, the stink bomb. But, you know, it's like him with the one video where he's got a video of him allegedly taping a Sasquatch or trying to, but his batteries went dead in the camera. Oh, I don't know what the batteries. How about the friggin' batteries in the camera that's 12 feet from you, taping you, trying to tape the Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an, you know.
Well, Bigfoot and batteries too. You know, that's the curse. It happens to a lot of people. And,
yeah. I don't think I've ever had a battery die in me out in the woods. You know, but then again, you get a bad, you know, you get a bad charge sometimes on some of these rechargeable batteries.
Right. Yeah.
You know, especially if you've had them in a cold environment,
right?
They can drain pretty quickly. Sometimes, like if I keep my FLIR unplugged, I don't need. If I unplug my FLIR and leave it, within 3-4 days, it's dead anyway. It drains.
Yeah. So
I have to keep my FLIR on standby on charge, and it gets, you know, every time I drive, it gets a charge, because some of these batteries will just drain. Now, these little Baofeng radios that are relatively inexpensive, you know, and people say, oh, well, you shouldn't, you know, patronize the Chinese, but I'm a ham radio operator, and these are actually ham radios. You see these little radios all over the place now, people using them. They're actually ham radios. They're not even supposed to be sent to people that don't have a ham radio license.
Right.
But I see malls using them with their security forces using them and stuff like that. But the batteries are freaking phenomenal on them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know what to say about that. But, and then I have my charging station, and the battery is phenomenal on that, you know.
Yeah. I love that lithium ion technology, and the lithium iron phosphate's even better. That's good stuff. That's one of my hobbies. I fool with those 18650 lithium ion batteries. I've got thousands of those things that I've salvaged for solar projects and stuff.
You know, and if things don't smell right to you, you should dig further. And like I said, preaching to the choir here, because our audience is really sharp to that. And, you know, one would expect that if you have a show that preaches what we preach, that like-minded individuals will come here to, you know, join. And some join the membership, and we appreciate everybody that joins the membership. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff going on. It's just been a busy, like 3 or 4 weeks with the job switch and everything like that. And, you know, I'm going to get personal right now, and I don't normally always do that, but my job switch happened because my boss from my previous job was leaving because his boss was a dick. I can't. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you spit your.
Whoops.
You know, he was a Richard, and he's leaving. And was that going to leave me? I don't want my boss's job.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to be slaved to his company, a slave to this company. So I decided, you know, my boss kept saying, hey, did you find a new job? My boss was trying to get me to get out of there too. Of course, him and I used to be partners 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever it is. I've been doing this so long. I mean, I've been doing my occupation for since 1988. 1988. 35 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I switched jobs. Of course, the new job, you know, you can't, you know, you got to go through training again. You know, for what? You know, okay, these are the rules. It's not like I haven't done this job before, but I got to go through the little training. And
you got to learn the way they want. They do. Yeah.
Right. And it's a lot more stringent rules. And but I worked out a decent deal with them as far as, you know, the economic package.
Right.
And, you know, take it from there. Now, does that mean I'm going to have to work some Sundays? Well, yeah, but I won't be working Sunday nights. I will be here. Yeah. The good news is that a lot of the former company, I would have to do these inventory cycles. Remember, we had to put the show on hiatus for from like mid-July through September, sometimes mid-September, because of this inventory cycle where every friggin' Sunday night at 8 p.m. I'm in a store, you know, overseeing inventories.
Right.
And now I don't. Now they do the inventories in the daytime here, and
that's good.
There's even I don't have to be at all of them. So so that's the good news, really. So
yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm still not looking to expand my career path, because there's a lot of things I'm 54 years old and I'm still consider myself a young pup.
Generation X.
I still want to venture into other occupations, and thank God I still have my legs with me. My feet are working good. My arms, well, I was having the shoulder issue and the neck issue, which the morning sometimes can be pretty rough. But the shoulder's getting a little bit better day by day, and I think that was a strained rotor cuff. And it got strained because of the back. So it's taking a little time for that to come back, but it's getting better because I'm not having that damning pain that like literally paralyzes me anymore. It's still sore sometimes, but I can do this even though it's a little stiff. But
don't do that.
Hey doc, it always hurts when I do like this.
It hurts when
don't go like that.
Don't do that.
But the funny thing is, something hurts when you go like that. You got to keep doing it. Ow! Why do people do that? I have no idea. I've done it myself.
As we age gracefully, some of us not so gracefully. You gotta figure out. You can talk to the guys that's like 35 years old now, and you say, hey buddy, you know what? In 10 years, that right knee of yours, it's just gonna say, I'm sorry. We're not going to work for you anymore.
I love that when a 35-year-old complains, oh, I got up this morning, my back hurts. Yeah, wait till 50, brother. Wait till 50.
Oh, yes. You don't know what pain is until you hit 50.
Here's the bitch at about 40.
Oh, man, we're going to run everybody off sitting around here talking about being old. Sorry, guys.
Hey, back in the day, everything was a nickel.
We had to walk 12 miles to school both ways, uphill.
With no shoes.
In the snow, yeah.
But you know what? It was kind of funny. I was doing, for the membership channel, I ended up scrapping the video. I was doing one of the driver side chats.
Yeah.
And I got behind, I just left my house at the wrong time, and I'm behind a school bus. And I was getting so aggravated because it's not like the kids go to a bus stop. Like in the day, I had to walk a block to go to a bus stop. Yeah. God forbid that little Johnny walks a block with his mommy or daddy to wait at a bus stop with all the other kids. No, they got to pick everybody up in front of their house.
Yeah.
And like half the time, the bus stops and then they come out of the house instead of effing waiting for it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? My school day, if you weren't there, just keep on going up. Nobody's there. I'm not stopping. I'm waiting to see if somebody's going to show up. Tough shit. You're not out on time. See you later.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get into it, but.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed over the years. It really has, Now kids get participation trophies, like if you're in some sort of a sporting event or whatever, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you're going to get a trophy. And we never got that when we was kids, If you won, maybe you got a trophy. If you lost, you got nothing. you got motivated to do better next time.
I know. I never participated in something that had trophies.
Oh, man.
And I was very dogmatic in my days. I just, yeah, I'm not interested.
Excuse me. I'm laughing too much now.
So here's a...
Yeah, here it is. Mr. 2505 Federal. Old farts, old times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Mr. Federal.
That's good to see you. Welcome.
But, you know.
Coming in strong.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anywho,
Okay,
yeah.
where were we?
Sandra Piper says, wait till you hit the 70s. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm going to try to avoid that. How are you going to avoid the 70s? I'm going to go right to the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, man. Face hurts now. I've been laughing too much.
That's okay. Todd Standing's face has been killing me for years.
But now, somebody commented about, hang on, I'll find it.
So, since it's my anniversary, let me talk about my ex-wife for a second. You know how bad of a cook my ex-wife was?
How bad was it, Steve?
I used to leave dental floss out so the cockroaches can hang themselves.
Oh my God. I didn't think you could do it, but that top mixed ex-mother-in-law's meatloaf.
I sure did.
You leave dental floss for the cockroaches to hang themselves. Oh gosh, that hurt. Man, this is turning into a comedy hour rather than a big.
Well, I said this is going to be a fun show.
Yeah. This show is not about Bigfoot, although it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, Sass Wizard, I don't think he was muted there.
No, I'm still on here. Sometimes I do mute, but I'm not. I think I'm unmuted now. Hopefully. Whoops.
That was good. Yeah. You all right, Chris?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to level you with that one, but
Well, there was that got me. Oh boy, that hit me. There was a comment about the gloves that Standing had.
Oh yeah, the gorilla gloves or the Sasquatch
The gorilla gloves, yes. And then later on, sure enough, what? Lo and behold, what did happen? He made a video of Bigfoot hands.
A Bigfoot hand reaching and grabbing the apple.
Yes.
What a coincidence that, somebody would find those gloves in there. And the guy was, the YouTuber that was with him doing it, I think, a plug for his channel. And of course, he probably had him on thinking, because this kid has a lot of subscribers, thinking, oh my goodness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the guy really outed him about the gloves. And then he recorded him, not knowing he was recording him, just to get the admission. Oh, my brother-in-law gave those to me as a joke. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's for him to put on while he's scraping the ice off his windshield or something. So, okay, let's see him, and let's get a close-up of that Bigfoot hand in the video, and let's get a close-up of the same side glove. Let's just take a look at it, would be
no. Actually, Chance, what, your ex now? No. Actually, not really. I just use the X as a joke because my wife, I'm not going to make fun of my wife, but I figured, you always say the ex-wife, just like I talk sometimes about my Uncle Louie.
Yeah.
Like my Uncle Louie, he had, I never had an Uncle Louie, but my Uncle Louie, he had a pacemaker put in. Every time he sneezed, the garage door would go up, stuff like that. When my Uncle Louie died, my Aunt Louisa poured his Viagra down the toilet. Now the toilet seat won't come down. Yeah. So I use characters to embellish. Like, my Uncle Louis, great guy, he used to work for a circumcision doctor. Yeah, he didn't work for a salary, he worked for tips. Anyway,
oh God.
But yeah, I use these cast of characters to roll into these jokes. And people who left already are missing this comedy gold.
Oh, ooh. Well, that hurt.
Anyway, and hey, there's a new person in chat. Sasquatch Secrets, welcome. Yeah. Oh no, that's Nikki. I forgot she changed her name. It's no longer. Yeah, it's no longer
Nikki. Sasquatch Secrets. Yeah,
that's right. So
formerly
Harry Man, hoaxes and hoodwink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me long enough finally to say that right, and she goes and changes the name.
We'll get used to the new one. It's pretty good too. Sasquatch Secrets. That's a good name.
That's it. I need some gratification.
When you consider great leaders of men, you often think of people like Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Winston Churchill, but in recent times, there's Steve Kulls, the Squatch Detective.
And thank you.
Yes. You're going to have to work out a whole Winston Churchill speech.
Grass is asking, have you seen the new trailer for the Barbie movie with Ken? Did you hear that Mattel is coming out with a divorced Barbie doll?
Are you? No, surely.
They are. It comes with all Ken shit. Yeah. Bazing!
That was believable. You had me. I was like, oh, you're kidding, man. But yeah. Hey, I remember during the 70s, of course, little girls back then played with Barbie dolls and they played with Ken dolls. And, people make a big deal out of it. They think that little boys didn't play with dolls back then. But actually, they did have a doll. It was called Johnny West. And I had one. It was cool. You could, he had little Western gear that you could put on him. He had a horse. You could ride the horse. And so, the little boys did play with dolls, and some of them grew up not to be strange.
A little bit bizarre, a little weird, a little.
Never played with a Barbie doll. I thought that was too girly, So, yeah, I had a Johnny West doll. He was cool.
I don't remember having any dolls at all.
Oh, I had the Evil Knievel, the wind up, spin him up, and he would take off and ride a wheelie, man. I had that thing. All those cool toys.
Oh, yeah, I did have one of those, the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
Yeah, a lot of guys had G.I. Joes.
And toy soldiers. Yep, I had green toy soldiers. Yeah. And then you would get the enemies, which were the tan ones.
Probably 5 billion of those are buried in the backyard at the old house somewhere.
Yep.
From where I've lost them.
Yep, I had the Star Trek Enterprise layout there. You unfolded it, and it was the bridge of the Star Trek Enterprise, and that's true. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I had a Kirk and a Spock and a McCoy and a cool. Mr. Scott, and they all had the corresponding correct shirts.
Yeah,
and ranks and everything. It was kind of cool. But you know what? What happened is in 1980, when I was 12 years old, I got my first computer. And I pretty much owned a computer ever since I was 12 years old. In fact, in 1991, I bought my first grown-up computer. I mean, I had a TI-99. Yeah. And I went to school back in the day when I was in high school. We took computer programming. Of course, none of those languages work anymore.
Right.
I learned BASIC and Fortran and Logo, and none of those are really used anymore. And I was pretty good at coding for a while. And in 1991, I had gotten a computer, and I ordered something brand new to the computers. Instead of using these floppy disks, right? First, they had the big 5 1/4 inch floppy disks that were like made with vinyl, and then they came out. Well, actually, my very first computer, the old TI-99, used a tape drive. So or your data in my tape. But I got my first computer. It had a modem in there, which you hooked up to the telephone. And that was the good old days when AOL was around. You got now, right?
Yeah, I love that.
And they had message boards, and that was about it at the time. It wasn't internet didn't come until another few years later, but they had this neat new invention. And I remember buying this computer. My ex-wife, and this is a true ex-wife story. She says, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" I took the case off the computer and I installed the new invention. And that invention was a CD-ROM drive.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was my very first computer. And fast forward 10 years later.
Yeah.
And I built my first computer.
Yeah.
Get all the parts, put it all together. And then years later, if I had a problem, I knew how I could swap out a motherboard in the computer. I knew how to do all that. Take the processor out, all the other RAM, the RAM out, the processor, unplug everything out, move it out, put the new board in, get the fan back, the heat sink back in, all that fun stuff. And I could do all that stuff, and I can still do it today. Unfortunately, the one computer I have now is a all-in-one. And it's very tricky. I'm afraid at my old fart age that I will not be able to get that put back together correctly. I have a new drive for this computer. It's a SSD drive and some extra RAM. So this thing's going to be 10 times faster.
Yeah.
And basically make it brand new. So that's going to go to the shop to have that put in for me. And I've already duplicated the drive. So all it is plug and play. They plug it in, open it up, and everything is saved like it was before.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the all-in-one. Everything built into something the size of the computer monitor. I really like that, and that's why I've still got this old dinosaur here. It's an all-in-one. But I love it. It's great.
Well,
I don't have to worry about the big box sitting on the floor and the cables running here and there.
Yep. And I gotta say, this sucker runs pretty well. And if you've seen my setup, I got two alternatives. Then I have my big screen, which is hooked up to my laptop, which not only do I use for chat most of the time, I'm not using that tonight because it's a little warm out tonight. So it's warm in the office. So I don't want to run an extra TV. I got the lights on. I got 3 monitors. That's enough. I don't want to generate any more heat than I need to tonight. But that's why I got to. The plan is next year of the house to get the central air going. Right now I have air conditioners in, but then there's so many different considerations that you do a lot of times for the show, and a lot of stuff I do around the house is to make sure we have a great podcast and make sure we have a good show. And once the central air gets in, it's going to be a big difference in summertime doing the show.
Oh yeah, save on the electric bill too.
Not really.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Probably. I have not. I really don't have a big electric bill. So, and we've talked about that privately.
Yeah.
You're like, your electric is how much? And you live in New York? Yeah, well, I don't see in New York City. See, upstate New York has 2 companies. They have National Grid, and I can't think of the other company. I have National Grid. I can't think of the other company. But downstate in New York City, they have Con Edison. Right. And there's a reason why they call the first name is Con. Because they con everybody to believe that they're out to help you.
Here in Kentucky, after 2020, our electric bills increased about 30%.
Wow.
And so, and you think about it, if you had an electric bill of $100 before, which, I wish, you're now paying $130. If you had an electric bill of $200, you're now paying $260. And if you have an electric bill of $300, which is pretty close to what we get, on the average, now you're paying $390.
Now you see, I have a brand new house, and my electric bill, I think the highest electric bill I've had was around $90.
Yeah. Wow. I cannot believe that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I have been motivated to get the solar system going here. I bought a bunch of panels, but I just really can't do the putting
the solar energy system, folks. I want to clarify, not the solar system.
Yeah. Solar power system.
Somebody knocked Mars off the shelf again. We got to put it back
I'm going to directly harness the sun. I'm going to run me a wire from that thing right to my house.
I'm just curious what you're going to do with Uranus.
I'm going to tie it up with Europa. Oh, man.
So anyway, I think we're going to kill the show in another few minutes, but it's been a fun night getting back in the saddle again after a few weeks, a couple of weeks off. Good to be back. What do I got going on? Well, in the beginning of July, I have an event in Gloversville, New York. Don't know how fun that's going to be because it's, it should be a good event, but it's one of those combo type of events. Paranormal's there, and other stuff from ufology maybe there. And then I have a library event in Massachusetts going on in the middle of July.
Yeah.
And then August, I got the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival. That's going to be huge.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Huge. And Cliff Barrickman will be there and a few others. So that's going to be huge. And then in the middle of July, middle of August, I have an event again in Rotterdam, New York, which the last time was a pretty good event, but you're kind of mixing the bag a little bit. So it's kind of curious to see how that one turns out. And then, of course, September, I have the Great Whitehall Sasquatch Calling Festival. So that should be a lot of fun. And, we'll see what happens there. But a lot of fun. And yes, Helton says, I used to have a cowboy outfit too. When I was a kid, I used to have a John Wayne hat, what we call the John Wayne hat. And we can't mention the G word on YouTube. I don't want us to get in trouble.
Cowboy hat. Yeah, cowboy outfit, right? Yeah, that reminds me when I first met John Gray, one of my closest friends and undoubtedly my oldest friend. The friend I've known the longest. Okay.
Well, he's probably one of the oldest friends.
I'm not calling you old, John, if you're watching. But we met. He was 4 years old, and he had a complete full cowboy suit on with all the accessories, if you get my meaning. Okay. 2 accessories, chromed, and cowboy hat, boots. He had it all. And I'll never forget that to this day. He was cool.
Hey, that's a little interesting side discussion. But that gives me another idea too, is what children of today are missing that we had when we were kids. And that was the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes.
Johnny Quest, and Race Bannon, and Dr. Benton Quest was Johnny Quest's dad. And then, this wasn't too racist, but they had, Johnny's friend Haji.
Oh, yeah. Sim Salabim. Yeah.
And the dog, you remember the dog's name?
Oh gosh. Bandit. Yeah.
Bandit. That's right.
It's there, man. It's loose, but it's coming. It's there.
Yeah.
I love the Herculoids.
The Herculoids, they were cool. Yep.
They were cool. Yeah.
And then
there was a show that came on. And it was not a cartoon. It was a Saturday morning show. It was called Land of the Lost.
That's right. And Space Ghost.
Space Ghost. That's a good one.
Those were the 3 shows that were always looped together. Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, and the Herculoids.
Yeah.
And then, yes, the Land of the Lost with the Sleazaks.
Yeah. Sleazaks, yeah. I would wake up. Okay, I had been going to school all week, Monday through Friday, of course. Waking up early, getting ready, getting on the bus, going to school, coming back. Saturday morning, my first day, my opportunity to sleep in, I was up at 6 a.m. voluntarily getting ready to watch The Land of the Lost because I didn't want to miss that show.
Yep.
6 a.m., buddy.
And Scooby-Doo, of course.
Oh, yeah, Scooby-Doo.
Looney Tunes, of course.
Oh, yeah,
My favorite all-time Looney Tune was, the two favorite ones were the one with Bugs Bunny and the Gangsters. Well, come on, Muggsy, let me have it. Right, and the one with the sheepdog and the coyote.
Oh, yeah.
And they punch in, and then the coyote would try to get the sheep.
Right.
And at the end of the day, after the sheepdog beating the heck out of the coyote, they all help. See you tomorrow, George. Yep. See you later, Ralph. As they're punching that.
Yeah.
That
right. Just a regular job to them. Right.
Jen said Magilla Gorilla, Speed Buggy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And Huntley.
Great Babe.
Yep. Great Babe. Great Babe.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen. I remember Great Babe.
The Flintstones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were kind of. I think that was kind of like an after-school show mostly for me. I'd come in an afternoon watch.
But the Flintstones were just a takeoff on the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know that. It was just a takeoff on the
neat.
Honeymooners. Yeah. What else? What other good shows?
Oh, Grasshopper came up with one, and this was a show that was on Saturday afternoons. They would show a movie.
I never
Hoopla,
saw
Fran,
that.
and Ollie. Yeah.
Never saw that one. No.
Yeah. Usually they would show like a Disney movie or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of neat ones. And then as we got older, then the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came in, and the Transformers and stuff like that. But there still was. I mean, we weren't the last generation to have Saturday morning.
No, right. At that time, I had done lost interest in cartoons on Saturday.
I think Gen Y had cartoons also, but the new guys, the new character, whatever you want to call them, the Zers or whatever. Now they haven't got any Saturday morning cartoons now. They get they have infomercials.
Sure.
So you can watch Vince talking about the Sham Wow or the Slap Chop.
Well, but now they also had Cartoon Network and stuff, and they could go watch that.
The pig on Green Acres, somebody asked. Wilbur, wasn't that Wilbur?
No, that was Arnold. Yeah, that was Arnold.
Arnold, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Wilbur was the name of the guy on Mr. Ed. Hello, Wilbur.
Yeah. Wilbur was also the pig on Charlotte's Web. Yeah.
No, actually, people are saying Orville was the name of the pig on
Orville.
No. Grass says Arnold Ziffel.
Yeah, Mr. Ziffel.
Oh, Sasquatch. Nikki said, remember HR Puff and stuff.
Oh, Nikki. Yeah. That was one of my favorites, too.
I
love that.
Wasn't that the show that Rip Taylor also showed up on, too? Rip Taylor.
I don't know. It was kind of weird because, to me, I always thought it was like a British show. Yeah. And it was a little weird, but at the same time, at that time, I was also watching stuff like, Monty Python's Flying Circus on TV.
So now we're seeing the other stuff too. There's more serious cartoons. Was the Japanese anime, which was Speed Racer.
Oh yeah,
and you had Star Blazers, and you had Battle of the Planets, which is another one. And
I missed those.
Yep, and Star Blazers in Japan was known as Battleship Yamamoto or Starship Yamamoto. And Battle of the Planets was known in Japan, and mind you, these were watered down. Like Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets were watered down for kids in the United States.
Yeah.
Like if you watched Star Blazers was Battleship Yamamoto, if you watch the original Japanese anime series, they were very serious and they had a lot of adult issues in those shows, which they watered down. And now Battle of the Planets in Japan was known as Gatchaman. Gatchaman, Gatchaman. And that was actually one of the most popular shows. Yeah, Yamamoto, whatever. no speak. I know speak Japanese. But if as far as Gotcha Man, there was in the watered down kids version, they added this R2D2 like droid who would kind of narrate the beginning and the ending of the show, right? And and they would say a lot of stupid things. And the bad guy in the show was called Zoltar. And I forget the name of the evil agency that was running out there, but they were blasting people with their laser guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, towards the end of the series, that Zoltar was actually exposed in the Japanese version,
right,
to be a hermaphrodite.
Oh no. Yeah, that was way too complicated for U.S. audiences.
Right. In the United States, in the U.S. version, it turned out that Zoltar was a woman. And nobody knew that Zoltar was a woman until one day in one of the battles, the mask got knocked off. And then you saw the big, long hair come out. So they answered that by saying, well, it was a woman the whole time. But the Japanese version had a very adult version where that's how he was able to fool people, was he could switch genders. So very, very, very interesting show, but really
that changes the whole meaning of the show. You know, you could now you realize that women are the ultimate evil.
Yep. Spectre, that was the name of the group. Spectre. Not Spectre like the James Bond version, but Spectre, TER, not Spectre like James Bond, which is TRE. Yeah, it was some very deep stuff back then. But the kids' watered down version, you thought was just this goofy, this little. Yeah,
we were the generation that came home to an empty house, and I read this online, and I said that is so true because Mom and Dad both worked, and when I got in from school, every day I was there by myself until they got home. And I watched after-school TV. They had after-school programs for children at that time.
See, now Mick is asking Zoltar. No. In the U.S. version, Zoltar turned out to be a woman.
Yeah.
But in the Japanese version, the actual filming of it before it got edited and watered down in the U.S.,
right,
Zoltar was a hermaphrodite, both man and a woman. But yeah, remember He-Man? He-Man.
Yes, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
And that horrible He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. That was pretty bad. And, they had a decent cast. They had Frank Langella as Red Skull, and he was a great actor.
Yeah. And Jen pointed out one, Thundercats. Now, of course, at that time I was a little too old, but I got to watch that with my daughter in the 80s.
I was actually too old for He-Man as well.
Yeah.
But I did watch the movie because, hey, any cartoon-based movie I'm interested in,
Yeah.
Now, here's something for today. Have you seen the new Marvel Silent Invasion? Episode 1 came out. I don't know if it came out.
I saw that come out, but I have not watched it yet.
Really good.
Is it? Okay.
Really good. Very interesting stuff.
And does have Samuel L. in there, right?
Huh?
Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. It's got to be good if he's in
it. So he's back as Nick Fury, and very good.
Fury, yeah.
Yep. And I watched for the first time Ant-Man and with the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yeah.
And that was really good. And they have a tie-in.
Oh.
and they have a tie-in on that one at the end.
Well, I haven't watched it yet because I haven't been really crazy about the Ant-Man series, but I'll give it a go. It's not going to cost me anything.
So have you seen the Loki series that they did?
Yeah, I watched that.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
And they're coming out with another season. So
I can see that.
But you have to watch Quantumania now.
Okay.
Because it ties into the Loki series.
Ah, good. Yeah, the whole Ant-Man story, yeah, I wasn't really into that.
Yeah, it took me a long time to watch that one.
Yeah.
But people gave the Man of Steel a bad rap. I liked Man of Steel. Going over to the D side, I like Batman versus Superman. I like the Justice League, but I love the Zack Snyder edition of the Justice League.
I did not like Batman versus Superman. I did not. I don't think they should have went there.
That was good. That was good.
I think that was wrong. Yeah, you shouldn't have superheroes versus each other. That's not good. If they would have did Batman versus, I don't know, one of the Joker or something. I mean, that would be cool because he's an enemy. But don't have to go the good guy. Good guys don't need to be going after each other.
Well, that was the thing. You got to understand. I thought it was brilliantly done because you're exploring Bruce Wayne was pissed because of the. Superman's appearance on the planet brought down death and destruction of people that he cared for.
Right.
And Superman thought Batman as this lawless vigilante.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. But then they realized they had common enemies and common ground. They both had a mother named Martha. Yeah. And that's what snapped them. And
you got to realize too, I think creativity in Hollywood is dead.
But I thought they did a real good job with Batman versus Superman. I thought they did. And you know what? Once they teamed up, it turned that whole movie, the whole feeling of that movie, because there was two superheroes you did not want to see them fight.
Right.
And they did. But once they did, they, boom, instantly came to a respecting of each other. And then they went and they fought together. And I thought that was brilliant. And then if you watch the Justice League Zack Snyder copy, which, the Justice League movie was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Zack Snyder edition.
Not the long version. No.
Oh my God. It's so different.
That's like 4 hours, man. I can't invest that much in it.
It was phenomenal. They told it much better.
I did start watching it, but my God, 4 hours. I can't.
So you watch it, you watch it in the 2 hours. But you know what? I don't like that Marvel sent off Steve Rogers. I don't like they killed off Iron Man. I don't, that was kind of disappointing. But
yeah. Chance. Where's the show going?
Yeah. I told you the show is not necessarily about Bigfoot.
Did anybody ever watch a show called Ultraman? It was a Japanese show, and they had this guy. He was like dressed in a red and silver uniform, and he would like change and transform and grow and fight monsters, giant monsters. Like Godzilla, but not Godzilla.
Oh, there was another Japanese one that came over here too. That
was a good
where they would each form a piece of this big robot guy. There was a couple of lions. Remember that show?
Oh yeah. What was that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember they were all get together and formed the big giant robot, and I don't remember what the name of it was. I don't remember.
I thought the Christian Bale Batmans were great too, and Heath Ledger as the Joker was phenomenal. you know, people thought that Jack Nicholson, you know, how is he ever going to compare to Jack Nicholson doing
Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Yeah, not the golfer, the Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson doing the Joker. No, he's not going to compare to, and he did so much better job than Jack Nicholson ever did. And I thought that Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker in the standalone Joker movie was very dark, and they're making a sequel to that one now too. And you know, I have you seen the standalone Joker movie, Chris?
Yes. Yeah, it's been a while.
I thought, and that scene with Robert De Niro towards the end of the movie.
Yes,
that was like, you're like, holy, what just happened? You know, I thought that was really, really impressive what they did.
Joaquin Phoenix did a pretty good job in that.
I think so too.
Yeah,
especially
when he was morphed into the Joker. You know, at the end, I think he did a good job in that.
He did really good too. I think it you know, it had shades of Heath Ledger there, and I think, you know, I think that if Heath Ledger never played the Joker, I think Joaquin Phoenix probably would have got an Oscar for the Joker.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Voltron, that's it. That was the name of that. Voltron. That was the yes. Thank you for
Voltron.
That was it. Yeah. But well, folks, we have actually taken it now. We got 14 minutes as we go our full term. But this is just kind of a fun night to talk about.
Oh yeah, we've been down memory lane. And
we're back to the Bigfoot next week.
Talked about UFOs and meteors and
aliens,
yeah,
and Uranus.
A few snippets about Bigfoot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been wow. I mean, boy, talk about jarring some memory out there. And that was great that the chat room started talking about cartoons.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of cool. That kind of because that it just brought back so many memories. It's really cool. And it's funny because the company I'm with, I worked for like 20 some odd years ago, or 25 years ago. And it wasn't until I returned to one of the stores that I used to be based at in the same building.
Right.
Because there was two of them I was based at. I went to one, I was at one store and then I transferred to another store. But that store that I transferred to has been moved. So it didn't erupt the memories. But I went back to the Latham store, the one I had been in, which has been in the same place this whole time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I started remembering names of people.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I realized that it's not my memory that's going. It's just my drawers are all full up here right now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I need something to start to
memory association too. Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, if I had any loss of mental facilities that I thought was going on, because every once in a while a name escapes me, I just realized that by showing up at that store, and I was able to recall names I hadn't thought about in 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, that was that person, and where's that person? And my goodness, it's all coming back to me. So I'm not crazy or not senile or anything like that, which leads me to my last and final topic is you know, the poor stuff that Bruce Willis is going through.
Yeah.
Which was the same thing that Robin Williams was diagnosed with, but he ended up committing suicide before it got too bad.
Yeah.
And you know, I fear finding a track where it says, I'm Squatch Man. I can offend with smell. I can shatter ears with a sonic wood knock. That's pretty good.
Hey man, somewhere out there in Hollywood, somebody is taking notes right now. So guarantee that's probably going to be a new movie.
Your idea is being stolen as we speak, finding a track like
Yeah. Speaking of movies, I think one of the best movies that I've seen that was a science fiction that's been out in the last year or two was that new one that Amazon did called the Tomorrow War.
With Chris Pratt.
Yes, with Chris Pratt.
That
Such a well done movie.
That's very well thought out.
I really wish they would do some more stuff like that. It wasn't really, what's the term people using now? Woke as much as the other stuff is. I mean, everything is going to that now, and I'm not going to comment about it one way or the other, but it's just they try to slip a lot of stuff in there now.
I try to
unnecessarily. I think.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. Is not that I'm for or against anything,
right?
But it's like the indoctrination that they're trying to put forth is kind of really rough. I mean, people go to these venues to escape.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm not, like I said, I'm not against anything in particular, but it started to creep into sports and these protests. And if you start seeing political commentary in a TV show, I think it's inappropriate no matter what side you're on.
Right. You're there for entertainment. You're not there to choose sides.
I'm there to forget the bullshit of the ordinary day that goes on. And now they got to put, and like sports. When they started making political commentaries in sports, I turned it right off. I don't want to see sports now because I go to sports to forget.
Yeah, we don't want to do politics at all when we want to be entertained. Right? I don't.
Which is why we don't do politics here.
Right. Not the place for it. Don't care about it.
So, Don asked what's going on with Bruce. He's got that Lewy body disorder, which is the dementia.
Yeah, he's
and I heard it's progressing pretty fast in him.
He gets some early dementia going on, and
that's why he a lot of his movies, he was his last few movies, which are all been going direct to video. He was wearing an earpiece in a lot of them because they had to feed him his lines because he couldn't remember the lines. And unfortunately, there was it's just sad to see because he's so young he got it very young.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. And actors, we love them, we grow up with them, we see them, and it's hard to think about them aging, but they age.
So do we all.
Yeah.
Clint
Eastwood still making kick butt movies. I love the last one he did.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, some people are born with that great genetic disposition.
Right.
I've been lucky. I can't say I don't look like I'm 54. I don't act. I mean, even though I got my aches and pains, I don't act like I'm 54. I fight through them. And maybe that would see when I was born, my father was 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My father right now would have been like 105, 104 years old today.
Right.
And that in 3 days, it would have been his 104th birthday.
Yeah.
My father was born in 1919.
Yeah.
I was born in 69. And what that did was it gave me the benefit of having a father when most of my Gen Xers fathers fought perhaps in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Or maybe missed part of the war, or some of them who had older fathers, maybe they fought in Korea.
Right.
My father fought in World War II.
Right.
My father grew up in the Great Depression.
Yeah.
He joined the New York National Guard in 1937 for a 2-year hitch, because back then you could do a 2-year hitch. And he got out. He got out in 39, worked as a welder for the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Right.
Which a lot of people thought his smoking was attributed to his smoking, or his cancer was attributed to his smoking. But they had a lot of asbestos exposure then.
Exactly.
And about 5 years before my father passed, we had a ceiling collapse in their bedroom.
Yeah.
And the place was built in the 1880s. Guess what was the insulation?
Oh, yeah.
It was asbestos, fine asbestos powder.
Yeah.
And it got in his bed because it blew over right in the bed. And my father cleaned that stuff up. No mask, no nothing, because that warning wasn't out until like 87, 88.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then think about it, he slept in that bed, he slept in that room with all that particulate.
Right.
You know, so who knows?
Very, very good chance that's where it happened at. Yeah.
Yeah. Just unreal. But like I said, I had the benefit of having a man who was part of the America's Greatest Generation.
Yeah, the Great Generation, and also I think known as the Silent Generation.
Yep. And he taught me a lot, taught me about integrity, taught me, that's why people see me do some things and like, I have to be really broken to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, aside from my yearly checkup, which, when I turned 42, they said, you have diabetes. So I've been a diabetic for 12 years, but I'm still on pills.
That's me, man. I'm broken down. I have complaints all the time, but if you want to load me up and take me to the doctor, I don't want to go. Don't want to go.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Mick said that, his father passed away of mesothelioma, which is asbestos exposure cancer.
Wow.
When my father had gotten that, mesothelioma wasn't even a diagnosis then.
Yeah.
It was, he had gotten cancer and that's the reason why I actually only went to school for college for 1 year, is because my father had gotten, and this is me and my brother, my older brother who passed away, turned around and just shakes his head. Used to shake his head saying, "You're unbelievable." To have a father die at age 20.
Yeah.
That I didn't turn to drugs or alcohol to cope with that.
Right.
That, I dropped out of college because my grades were being affected towards the end because my mother didn't drive.
Yeah.
Who was going to take Pop to his radiation treatments, to his chemo treatments? That was me. I did that. And then I would work at night at the grocery store. So that's why I got out of school, because I was taking care of my dad. I mean, once in a while, my uncle would do it, but my uncle was a bus driver, so he worked for the days most of the time. Unless he had a day off, and he would take him. But, maybe he would take him once a week. I had the other 4 days a week. And, his other doctor's appointments and stuff like that. So I did what I had to do. And then when my father passed, and I remember the last time my father went in the hospital, my mother was completely broken. And they put us to the question, do you want to put him on life support? He will not make the day unless you put him on a ventilator. And my mother just looks at me, what do we do? What do you want to do? What do we do? I'm like, I'm 18 years old and 19 years old.
Right.
I mean, what do I do?
Yeah.
But we made that decision to keep him alive. And I remember him coming out of the ventilator. And the first thing is, why? Why did you do that? I had to answer that because we wanted to say goodbye. We didn't want this to end like that. We all wanted a chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And my two older brothers showed up, and eventually we all got to say our goodbyes and make our amends if we had any amends. And and at the time I was a volunteer firefighter too. That's who I am. And so I don't know. Tough time, but hey, I want to end on a good, fun note. And 1 year anniversary done. And we had a great day today. Great day today. Good dinner today. And I got to do my grill master thing today and made a delicious dinner. And hey, I got to go to work tomorrow. But the good news is I'm off Tuesday. So Tuesday evening for the members of the membership, keep an eye out. I may be doing something Tuesday night. But anyway, want to thank for everybody dropping by next week. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have that guest we talked about earlier on. I don't want to officially announce it because we're still on. He still has to check, make sure he's got no commitments for July 2nd, which is our next show. And again, everybody, I want to wish everybody happy. Chris, actually do your thing before we go. Do your thing.
New Year. Thanks everybody in chat for coming. We appreciate you. I know the show's a little bit odd, but okay, we'll do a different one every now and then. If it's your first time watching on YouTube, usually we talk about Bigfoot. So hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe. That would be great. We'd appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. Give us a thumbs up, or a thumbs down if you don't like the show. That's fine. We're perfectly acceptable of critiques. But thank everybody. I really appreciate you, and Steve does too.
Up and Nick says, Steve and Chris, I want to pull some pints with you guys and talk mountain Sasquatch stuff.
That sounds good, Mick.
Yeah. Folks, I want to thank everybody. I could not do a show. I mean, it was tough finding a guest this week. Like I said, I was, work week. Like I said, I got out of training last week, so this week was very hectic for me. So I didn't really have time to pull together a guest, and really nothing. Once in a while, as a YouTube creator, you go through a creative block. That happens. So I was not going to not do a show tonight. I miss you guys, and I want to see all you guys. And that's why we did a show tonight. We'll talk about whatever. Yeah. Because, somehow I think we are all sitting in a bar right now, just having a pint and chit-chatting. And I love you all out there. So remember that. So I want to have everybody out there have a healthy and safe week. We'll be back next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, with an all-new Squatch-D TV, and this time we'll be talking about Bigfoot for sure. So we'll catch you all next week. Love you guys, and see you all soon.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.